Welcome to Sister Scoop. We are covering the top 3 Marvel news topics of the week. We're going to jump right into it with some Doomsday news, and we're talking about the length of the movie. We're getting some details.
Yeah, so basically it sounds like there's going to be some early tickets going on sale months before the film comes out, which is, probably, at least for Marvel, it's very unusual to have them this far out.
Yeah.
And in so doing, we now found out that the film is going to be roughly 2 hours and 46 minutes. The article that I was reading was saying that's not necessarily a final cut. There is some leeway to maybe have variation, a few minutes either way, but it's not going to be wildly off of that mark. That's a long, long movie. So no bathroom breaks. We are gonna have to manage that, but it just tells me there's gonna be a lot going on. But I'm also hoping that maybe because I was reading it's not quite as long as Endgame, and we both have some feelings about how long Endgame is and some of the ways that they could have trimmed that. So I'm hoping that this means they're going to tell a maybe slightly more concise story, but still something that's, really meaningful.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, if you've made it through Endgame, you'll make it through this one.
Yeah.
Like, that's really the best thing I could say is if you sat through Endgame, you're good. I'm not shocked it's long. I mean, just with some of the things that I think we've all been hearing, rumors, things that have actually been confirmed for the movie. Obviously, we got some not even concept art. We got like the first poster look at the movie and stuff and some of the things that we've been seeing. So I think just knowing the teams involved and things of that nature, it's not really surprising. I do agree that there were concerns, or I should say, like some feedback or criticisms towards Endgame for the length. And I don't know if it's the length more than the pacing of it as well.
Those first 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, like could have been
experiencing the time jump.
Yeah.
That really, yeah.
So I think like my bigger concern is I just don't want to face that. You could give me a 5-hour movie as long as it's paced fine. I'm sat. I think I'm more concerned that it's just not paced well. So that's really more what I'm looking at is making sure if we're going to have a 2-hour and 40-minute movie that throughout the whole thing, I'm intrigued by it. I'm not feeling like it's slow at any point. I mean, we do only have Doomsday and then Secret Wars, and that is it. And that ends this saga. So it is important to me that this is going to actually like use almost the full 3 hours to literally the fullest extent.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, that's all we got on that one. That's all we can update you on that one. But if you haven't gone and seen the posters that they did release, I believe it was something overseas. It was some convention overseas that I'm not remembering exactly where it was, but they did release them there. Go ahead and check them out. They're all over the internet if you did happen to miss them.
And potentially a trailer next week.
Potentially, yes. So we will see. But some other news. This was so weird. This was so weird to read on the internet because like I was like, this makes sense. But also, what? Adam Driver possibly in as Magneto. And I shouldn't even say possibly. It's pretty like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's some pretty big confidence on this one. It seems like a lot of people seem to be really kind of circling this. I like it. I think he has the acting chops. I think he'll really be able to do well in this role. I mean, Magneto is such a complicated character to bring to life. And I think that Adam Driver really has those chops to do that. And I can picture him in the role. I think he's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
I think and the articles I was reading were pointing out, what this says about the aging and what the age of the X-Men is probably going to look like in their early 20s, which I think is kind of, as we've gone along and the rumors have been, had or spoken about, I think that's kind of what everyone has kind of been leaning towards. So it kind of fits into that as well. I like this a lot. I know some of the articles were saying too, like maybe we'll get some casting information coming out of SDCC next week. We will hopefully be in the room, so we'll let you know. But yeah, I mean that would be huge to get some confirmation, especially now that this one's made its way around the internet.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, though, primarily about the age thing. I think that's been kind of, I don't want to say the debate, but that's been kind of what we've been trying to figure out with all the rumors. I mean, we've had rumors of people who are in their 40s playing characters like Storm versus we've had people who are in their 20s rumored to be playing characters like Jean. So it's like, it has been one of those things that I think we're just waiting for kind of the first one because once you kind of pinpoint that first one, you can start to place some pieces. And obviously we're aware that Magneto and Professor X are going to be older than the rest of the X-Men. So knowing like if this is the direction we're going and it's Adam Driver 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, now we know we're going a little younger with the actual X-Men team, which I think is going to be cool. So I am into this. To your point, I think Adam Driver's a great actor. I think he's been rumored for another role before in Marvel. I don't remember what it was. It was a while ago.
I think the article I was saying was talking about Reed Richards, that he was like shortlisted on the Reed Richards casting before Pedro got the role. Either that or he was rumored, but he was in that conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I definitely know we've brought his name up before,
for
a different role, and it wasn't related obviously to X-Men. So either way, like I'm happy if we're able to bring him into the Marvel universe, but also I think he'd like body that role. Plus the way that X-Men 97 kind of went in the direction of Magneto, like especially the X-Men 97 version of him more than the original cartoon version, like the animated version. I could see that kind of being a long-term role for him. And like physically, I feel like he fits really well too. So
yeah,
I like this. I'm on this train. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I back this 100%.
Yeah. There we go. They've gotten an endorsement from us guys. So you know it has to happen.
I know.
Pretty much how that works.
We're obviously the biggest stakeholders in this decision.
Exactly. All right. On to our last topic. This is crazy because I feel like we've talked about this for 7 years. Nova is finally getting a movie that I feel like we've discussed before for like years.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there have been so much talk about this. I have so many feelings. To your point, there have been rumors and like just kind of circling on this one a lot. I'm excited. I think it'll be cool. I know we've seen the Nova Corps, obviously, in the first Guardians film and maybe the second before they got destroyed. But at least in one of the Guardians films, we know we've seen them. So I'd be really open to seeing, kind of more of that world and getting back out into space, which we haven't done in a couple of years, I think since the Marvels, really. So I'd be really happy to go back up into space. The one thing that's really making me nervous is the name that's attached, which is Michael Waldron, who's working on the script and may end up directing. And you saw Katie's face. Why do we feel that way about Michael Waldron? Michael Waldron worked on MOM and Loki. I know a lot of people like Loki, so we're going to set that one aside. MOM is unforgivable. What he did to Wanda, all of that. So I really, as much as I'm excited for the project, I don't like his work in the MCU, and I'm not excited for it. I mean, I'm excited for the character, not for whatever he brings to life.
Here's my 2 cents on this. My issue with Michael lied, whatever the past term there needs to be, with the fact that there was zero research by his team to the characters that they actually were bringing to life. Didn't do your research of just even the MCU, not even comics, like MCU. And so that's my bigger issue of why I think those went so south. My 2 cents of, and I can't believe I'm out here saying this, I'm going to try and play the devil's advocate to this and say, this is a character that's new. There isn't research in the MCU. This isn't a fan favorite character that's already been existing like Loki or even Wanda. I mean, everybody like those 2 characters are just, and I would know I'm part of it, are 2 characters that have like aggressive cult followings. Like they are, backed by big fan bases. And so I think having a character that's new, that's going to have an intro, and that's what the project's going to be. It's an intro movie. I think might be a lot better than taking a character that is already so loved, not doing the proper work and research to continue their story in the correct way, and then writing whatever story you decide to give the character for your one movie or your one show. So I'm going to play a little bit into the devil's advocate and just say the nature of this is different. So I'm going to hope that like it kind of just goes a little differently. We'll have to see. I mean, as much as we're talking about it moving forward as a project, like I'm sure we won't hear about it for another year. At least. Like we're not going to hear anything else for like another year.
I mean, it might end up on the slate that we're hoping shows up next week at SDCC, and that would be cool. But Yeah. I mean, look, if we're going to give Michael Waldron the benefit of the doubt, which, you kind of did there with saying it's an intro, it's a character intro versus a continuation. The other thing to think about, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, is other people signed off on those scripts and those films. Other
Correct.
people who should have been connecting the dots between
Correct.
projects. So, I mean, yes, it was his. I'm thinking specifically of MON. Like, that's the one that really grinds my gears.
Yeah,
like
same.
It may have been his turd that he pooped, but like other people should have cleaned that up,
Fair. So that's why I'm saying, like, either way, I think this is a different type of project that I'm hoping that this just kind of maybe is a clean slate for him in a different direction, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we've got time. I don't know where it's going to fit in the next phase. I don't think a lot of us think further than the mutants, so it's going to be kind of just interesting to see where Nova as a whole goes into whatever story they're going to tell next.
Yeah. I mean, if they do some of the more spacey X-Men stories, it could be interesting to see how some of those might intersect. So,
yeah, for sure. All right, guys, that has been this week's episode of Sister Scoop. Make sure you guys are joining us next week as we take on 3 more Marvel news topics of the week. And join us on the podcast side because it's X-Men 97 time. So if you haven't been watching, you should be. And then also listening to us afterwards. But we'll be back next week. See ya.